Did I hang up the phone or is he still listening? Okay, anyways.
Oh, no, you're still on. I think we're off.
I will get him back. So I don't even know where to start. It's such a long story. We probably need like a shot of tequila for everybody. At least. I would say that I started in the real estate business after retiring from the corporate wireless industry of 15 years. And I said I really wanted to start just buying homes, flipping them, and rehabbing them. And then I thought, well, how can I do that until I get my real estate license? So I took that test and I passed it. And I said, well, they only teach you about the law. Now what am I going to do? So I went to Coldwell Banker and I sold properties for 2 years there because I wanted to know the whole process of real estate. And then I started opening up, going to people's houses. I just really couldn't believe what I could see behind closed doors. Like I thought, how do you tell people that they got to pack up their, you know what, stuff? So I Googled online. This is so long ago because we are coming up on 20 years. Maybe it's longer. I'm not even sure the year I started. But I looked it up online and I saw this class called stagehomes.com. And I said, how do you tell people to get their home ready for sale? And that came up on the internet. And I signed up right then and there. And I went to that course. And after that, I said, I'm going to be the only realtor in town that is going to know how to talk to people and get the homes looking nice, and I'm going to make the most money and get all the listings. And I did. My houses were selling before anybody else. The problem is I just didn't like really dealing with the other people on the other side who didn't know their business. But other realtors were starting to hire me to do their homes. And I said, I looked it up in the area. I was like, there's only no other home stagers here. I said, how about I'm just going to do this as a full-time business. And I'm going to just work with 30,000 realtors in Broward County, pretty much bringing home staging to the area. My friends and family thought I was crazy for coming up with something to do this, but I believed in it so much, and I knew that I could help people really to move on to the next phase of their lives, whatever that may be. Because I could see every time we went to a house, you know, what they were going through. So when you understand that, I feel like it really makes you wondering, like, okay, we're doing home staging. It was really about helping people back then. Then you get a phone call, a vacant home. I hear you're a home stager. I need furniture. Like, what? Where do I get this from? I had to end up using all the furniture in my house. I literally slept on the mattress. You want to know who my first client was? I think his name is called Dwayne Johnson, The Rock.
Yes.
Listen, this house is ugly too, by the way. I'm just kidding. Anyway, that was our very first job, and we did that. And so since then, I just continued on. I took my master's course. I always helped out and trained when the other trainers would come into our area. And I spoke and spoke and spoke and spoke at events in front of realtors. And people, and believe me, like you heard a little bit of my story before from, you know, where was the next dollar coming from, or was the next sofa coming from? And I just know that when I put my mind to something, I'm not giving up. And today, along now with Lynn, after 20 years, and we joined again as business partners 5 years ago. Sometimes gets so crazy with the employees, and it's completely different than why we started what we did all those years ago. But I love what we do. I love how we change people's lives. I love helping people make money. I love that our people that work with us at our company love what we do. There's the ups and downs and challenges, but I'm not going to ever give it up. Right now, I forgot. Yeah, the association. So I love teaching people and educating other stagers more than I even love doing home staging business. So that it's going to grow that way in the future. That we just want to help continue on what we're doing today, because how much longer do you think we can do this, right? So we need all of you to continue on, push forward. When you think you're going to quit, don't do it. Just keep on going and never give up, okay?
Awesome.
She established, obviously, the South Florida market. funniest scene in Dodgeball. You ever seen that movie?
Yes.
With Ben Stiller, and he's on that little, he's got this little white outfit on, he rides it on a little Vespa. Anyway, it's funny. I love that song. All right, next up, Kevin Tang. Oh, sorry, Julia Horner, I'm sorry. I forgot. I was like, I'm sorry, you're up next. Julia, are you here? All right, Kevin, you're next.
Hello again. Jenny already told my story, so you guys all know
Part
about
of
it.
it.
Yeah.
There's much more to it.
I'm in the LA area. I am also the 7th lifetime master in, yeah. I'm so old, my ASP number is 1. I have a very short ASP number, it's very small. But I got involved in 2005. I got involved with my mom. She's the one that brought me into the industry. She has her own brokerage in Sacramento. And when I opened up my interior design firm, I was abused by the best in the corporate world, and I was like over it. So, I mean, if you ever had like corporate design before where they throw bleach over everything that you do, then you know what it feels like to be like, you know, constantly like locked out of your buildings, not being able to do your work. So I left KB home. I had enough of that. And I opened my company, and I promised myself what I would do is I would never treat somebody the way that I was treated. And I would only hire somebody that I would consider them to be my family. That is what I decided to do, and that I would take care of those employees better than I ever was taken care of.
Yes.
Because I know what it feels like. I was gonna pay them well, I was gonna give them a living wage, and I do that. So I was born, unfortunately, with this thing called tenacity, which does not allow me to quit. I have, even last year when things were so bad, I had no option to quit. I have nothing to fall back on. Staging is my thing. That is what I do. That's to my core. I'm rabid about staging. So I had no option to quit. So what I do, I diversified. I opened up my interior design firm, brought it back again. What happened when I actually had my interior design firm is when I opened up staging, it became so popular that I didn't have to do any interior design projects. I'd have to, you know, do any of that for years. In the market, when it was like 2007 to 2011, my company exploded. It was the best time. Every year we got more and more and more, and then we got to last year, and I was like, oh shit. I mean, it was just horrible. So, but I just want to tell you guys, don't quit. That is the biggest thing. And also surround yourself with your family that is in the iHouse family. Surround yourself with them and really just rely on each other. Because if you become an island and you're kind of floating out by the sea by yourself and you don't have nothing to tether to, then you don't know what your potential can be. You don't know how much you can tap into your financial amount. You don't know anything about that. So you need to make sure you're scaling everything so you're gonna take care of your bottom line and you can take care of your employees. So, but rely on your family because I don't know, is Maha here?
She was earlier.
She was?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's seriously no one from Southern California here. And that's the way it's been for years. So I don't really get to see like many stagers in Southern California. I have to come to conference in order to meet everybody. That's what I have to do because I'm so far out, like right there. Like Vegas, we've never been closer, and I'm surprised nobody from Southern California came.
Right here.
Oh, there you go. Okay. Good. We have representation. Good. Okay.
All right, and Kevin has the biggest heart, and you've also.
Jenny, you're my sister.
I know.
I love you, and I
From
fight
another
with you
mistake.
as well, like my sister.
Yeah. All right. He's also a trainer. He gives back too, so he's wonderful. Who's next? Come on. Is Rachel here? Rachel Latham? Oh, you. Well, the spreadsheet said you had been. Oh, is that Monica? Margaret, sorry, Margaret Osilla. You're actually Margaret. You're in here, and you're coming up in the O's. All right, we'll go forward. Hang on. Here you are.
Great. So it actually is Rachel's fault that I did start our business a long time ago. I had a very successful accounting career with Philip Morris, and Rachel wanted to be homeschooled in high school. And she was one of those kids that maybe she wasn't going to go to college and maybe she wasn't going to be successful. And so I did quit my career, stayed home, we did her thing, she left home, and then I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? I've always been married to a contractor and knew all the ins and outs of that business. And so I decided I was gonna flip homes. And I would go and I bought some houses on courthouse steps with my big wad of cash. And I did a lot of the work myself because I knew how to do it. So time passed and I had a house that had a small dining room. I drew out on the floor, this is the average size of a dining room table. People are like, oh, we love your house, good job. That dining room's too small. So you know what happens when you bring furniture in? All of a sudden people see it, of course. So it was very frustrating to me because I would work for a really long time to have perfect texture and perfect finishes, that people would come in and say, we love this house, and they'd be touching the sofa. You know, give me a break. Look at the fine tune-up that we've done to this house. But long story short, then real estate agents came to me and said, can you teach our clients how to stage or to get their houses ready for sale? I said, sure, I can do consultation, right? So frantically read up, hadn't even taken a course yet. And so I'm so nervous that I'm about to throw up. Literally, you know, some of you new people, when you get nervous, it's okay. It's really okay. And so I started doing consultations, then I got some training. Then somebody says, can you stage a house? It was a tour home. My first stage was literally a tour home of the builder's tours of homes. So I never planned on having inventory. It was my husband and I in the back of a beat up pickup truck trailer type thing, staging at night because we were embarrassed to haul our stuff in the daytime. So fast forward, my daughter Rachel Latham is in business with me, has been in business with us for 9 years because we got so big that we wouldn't have been able to keep going. And I am blessed that she shares my brain, so it's a wonderful collaboration. Last year, I managed 175 contracting jobs that ranged anywhere from $5,000 to $500,000. And we staged 459 homes. And we purchased land and built a 10,000 square foot warehouse. So for those of you that are starting out, I just have to say, become an expert in something. Whether it's blogging, I mean, some of Kathy and I know each other from blogging way back in the day in Active Rain and that kind of stuff. The other stagers thought I was crazy because I would give agents tips for free. I would go to go to open houses, or I would go to realtor meetings, and I would give hey, 5 minutes tips, things like that. But make yourself invaluable to the people that you want to work with, and they'll keep coming back to you. So And we're out of the Salem, Oregon area. It's a smaller area and not as metropolitan as many of you. So thank you very much.
Awesome. I gotta go backwards. Let's make a phone call. Give me your phone. Jonathan is the pioneer, may I? So, please stand next to I should take that down. Is Jonathan mad at me or something? I'm kidding. So I started to. Yeah, that's not my. It's like my head on, not even my head, but on someone else's body. It's just the weirdest thing. I like that arms. So I established the Sacramento market. So I was the first stager there. So staging had been established in the Bay Area, and we had moved from Danville area up to Sacramento. And before we moved, though, we had sold a house in that area, and my realtor brought a stager, and I didn't know what that was, and she, I took notes as she took me around the house, and I did what she said, and the house sold, and then we moved into another one, and then we sold that house, same process. So I thought, well, this is kind of interesting. Moved to Sacramento, we looked at 80 houses for sale because we didn't know where we wanted to live. And I would get so excited at the, driving up and you walk in, beds unmade, food in the kitchen, in the sink. It was just like so disappointing. We ended up buying a new construction. But I kind of tucked that away in my head. And so at the time, my kids were 3 to 8 years old, the 4 of them, a girl and 3 boys. I was homeschooling. And so, in 2002, the high-tech market tanked. Some of you might remember that. And my husband was in high-tech sales at the time. He was a national account manager for Fortune 500. And so I remember him coming to me, and he had a base salary that was a 6-figure base salary, and they said to all the salespeople, we're going to cut your salaries by 1/3. We'll make it up to you in commission. And so, sure. And I thought, well, that's livable take-home income. So my goal was to replace what he was losing. And because first he came and he said, you're going to have to go back to work. And I thought, I won't make any money because what I did before was environmental consulting, marketing, and sales for environmental consulting companies that did like Superfund cleanups, risk assessment, toxicology, all that interesting field. I was a psychobiology major at UCLA, and so kind of fell into the whole science thing. But I thought, I won't net anything. Between childcare, transportation, wardrobe, I won't. So I thought, I want to do something creative that's flexible. So first I was going to paint murals for people and had a little creative concepts mural company. And I thought, well, that's still not necessary. What can I do that's people have to do? So I remembered home staging. So I went online, found a class. This person kept popping up, stage towns. I thought, this is legit. And, because I was like, who is this person? And so I ended up getting validated by a third-party person who I knew. So I'm like, I'm going to take this class. And so I launched the first company in the Sacramento area. And, back then, I tell my story in The Stagerpreneur, The True Confessions of a Stagerpreneur. I wrote this book that came out, I released it last year. And it's basically the 25 things that remembrances, reflections, and revelations of a professional stager, and things I wish I would have known when I got started. And, back then we didn't have the tech we have now. Cell phones were very basic. There was no GPS. No photos. I had a take pictures with my 35, like a camera, go develop the film, bring that home, scan it on a scanner to create JPEG images to be able to insert into proposals. When I went to offices to do presentations, they would like pop their head up over the cubicles and I'd hold up like signs or pass things around the room. I mean, it was like, a whole different world. I was selected as a preferred home stager for a regional company that had 13 offices, so then I was able to get in and do education. And every time I spoke, it was, realtors would come up and they'd want to, work with me, but more than that, I was helping educate in their region. And I remember taking out an advertorial in a magazine, and what it did was actually build more stagers. They read that, it was like a home improvement magazine, and an advertorial is basically like an article you write about yourself, but it's like really an ad, you had to pay for it. And so all these people were like, we want to do what you do. So I must have sent 80 people over the next couple of years to get trained, because I thought I can't stop people from getting in the industry, and they can't take my clients because it's relationship based, but I wanted to have a foundation for professionalism in the area. So that market, took off 2002 to 2009. We did great. I had a team of 7 stagers, and then the market collapsed in like Florida, Arizona, Illinois. These were the really hardest hit states. Sacramento was slammed badly. And so at that point, my husband and I decided, we made the decision to leave. So I stopped the company. It didn't even occur to me to sell. I had a whole client base. I just like walked away. I took some inventory with me that got destroyed in a house flood like a year later, and started a new company. So in Denver. And when I started in Sacramento, we didn't know anybody. And in Denver, we didn't know anybody. We just decided to move there because John had been from there. And building your business cold is the hardest way to do it. It takes a lot of perseverance. So I became very pleasantly persistent and finding realtors, and just, my slogan in Sacramento was, I'm looking to get my foot in the door in this region. And I didn't have a staging company in the Bay Area, and they told me to go back to the Bay Area. They didn't need me because the market was hot when we got started. And so I would drop off little acrylic shoes full of candy, and then a handwritten note, the power of the pen. And I got callbacks on all of those, and that's, that developing those relationships is really what matters. So again, my kids were 3 to 8 years old when I got started, and through the years, they've all been involved in the business. I mean, I got a girl and 3 boys, so when the boys were old enough to start carrying an area rug, I was like, oh yeah. I have built furniture, I've driven trucks, I have moved furniture, I've done it all. And you flash forward to where we are today, the Denver market, I wasn't the first stager there, so I entered not knowing anybody in marketing. Well, by then, John was in real estate, so he started in 2004, 2 years after I got started. And then when we went to Denver, he got his license again, and he's always been a really great advocate and a promoter I call him like my PR person. So he'll tell people about my background and so forth. And as a stager, I feel like we have it easier. We have a much larger client base available to us that's easily identifiable. So my ability to get business was just me getting out there and marketing. And then, the first couple of years was a struggle. I remember we were renting a home. It flooded the first Christmas we went back to California. We came back, and worse than that, you walk in the front door and there's water everywhere, and the ceiling had fallen in the basement. The pipes had burst because it got super cold. So we lost about 80% of our belongings. We ended up in a hotel with the 4 kids and the dog, and for 3 months, rented another house. And the reason we did that is because in Sacramento, the market had collapsed so badly, and our mortgage, we had gotten tied to a LIBOR index. It ballooned 4 points in 1 year, which I don't think was even legal. We were paying like $7,000 a month on a property that was a declining asset. So we short sold and moved to Denver, and then kids getting older. I remember Stephen had a job at a pizza place. He was in high school, and I remember it got to the point where I didn't have money for milk. And John was reestablishing his career. He was a realtor, but he went back into high tech. So I borrowed money from my son to get milk, and so we hear these struggles that people go through. You see happy, shiny faces, and you see these big companies, but there's always a struggle that people go through behind that. And so we ended up, John he was always done really well in high tech. He always becomes like the top salesperson, establishes the region. Then as soon as he was able to get back into real estate full time. That was 2014, and they haven't looked back. And now he and Stephen work together. My daughter, who's the oldest, she's my late stager. My niece here, who's Glinda the Good Witch, that's Eleanor, and she's a stager. She's one of the lead stagers. Carlo, who's sitting next to her, he's one of my stagers. And so, family operation. He's like another son. We take vacations with him, and we love Carlo. He's Eleanor's best friend. And so it's fun to be able to build a business with family. But there are struggles that go along with it. When my father passed away and John's dad passed away, I was forced into having to get a warehouse. I kicking and screaming, didn't want to have a warehouse. This is like another job. Because by then I was chairwoman of the association. I was running staged homes. I had the staging business, and I thought, I don't want one more thing. But it was the best decision. And my daughter, Lauren, really pushes me, Mom, you gotta get a warehouse. I'm not doing that. And here I am. But we have a 16,000 square foot warehouse full of furniture. We'll peak out at about 60 houses at any given time that are staged. We run about 350 to 400 properties per year. And it's when I look back, I didn't know, in 2002 that I could look back and say this business has helped put kids through college, help pay the bills, pay for trips. John getting into real estate, it's risky. We both are entrepreneurs. We don't have anything to fall back on. So you have to push yourself forward. And in 2003, the very first conference was held, and I attended. And I've attended every single one, no matter where it was held, because I need to get around all of you, because we understand each other. When somebody talks about going to pick up a house, Sandra, and you had somebody had a big party in there, and they had the banners, and in a vacant house, somebody did something like that, or you find things in the bed, Kevin, like a used device for sex and so forth. These stories that only a stager can relate to, right? And so you get around your colleagues and you can laugh, you can get through challenges, you can support each other, and that's what's really the most valuable. So. And when I shut my business down in Sacramento, I wasn't even out of the state a month, and somebody took my name. They were probably pretty smart, because I have a whole client base. And then in Denver, it's been slow going, and, growing at first. And I look back, and every year we've set revenue records, because I track all of that on spreadsheets for financials, all the new revenue for that month. And it's been amazing to see how things have grown. So those of you that are newer in the business, you'll be able to look back and keep track of your journey, and no matter what you're going through, if you are struggling, you're not alone, and you don't need to be ashamed or feel like I can't talk about that. Because I've often said on social media, people put out all the great stuff and all the crap that we go through, and it doesn't seem like, so when you're struggling, you feel like I'm the only one doing this. I'm the only one going through this, and believe me, you are not. So don't be afraid to reach out to a colleague, pick up the phone, call somebody, email, or what have you, and they'll help get you through. So thank you. If I say, hang on, you make sure I didn't skip anyone. Hang on, Lynn, hang on, just a moment. Lynn, speak, hang on, sister. Let's see. Amy. Well, no, it's alphabetical, so I hit the slides from the end. Actually, I thought Monica Murphy was next, but she should have been before me. So anyway, Amy, get up here. Is Monica in the room? Well, Amy and then Lynn, it's alphabetical. So I went too far. Come on up, Amy. Woo!
Thank you. I started in 07 in Atlanta, Georgia. I did not start that market because I have wonderful colleagues and we grew it together in the home staging industry. And I fell in love with it watching HGTV, watching Matthew Finlayson, and was inspired by the concept of going into homes and designing it and not caring what the owner thought, because there was a buyer demographic that was very appealing to me. And I stayed in the industry for 15 years. I was still in the industry, obviously, but then last year, 22, because now we're in a new year, obviously, I did short-term rental, and I love it passionately, and I can't speak on it for 5 hours, but I know it's getting late, so that's my story.
All right, now Lynn's Bay. Get up here. I know, my lips are sticking to my teeth. I have here. There we go. She looks great in hers.
Oh no, there's nothing wrong with her face.
I think it looks really nice.
It looks nice.
It looks amazing.
That's beautiful.
Do you need to call Jonathan again?
Well, I'm the quiet one. I am Lynn Spaeth. I'm Lynn Spaeth, and I am from Boston, Massachusetts. And I had a small boutique staging company there. I loved what I did, and what I loved most about it is knowing that I was helping change people's lives. And this organization, I got trained through Staged Holmes, but things really turned for me when I started connecting with my community. So when you leave this event, I want you to make sure that you reach out to somebody who's going to make a difference in your life. Because I can tell you that it has truly made a difference in my life. So my youngest child is 22, so that means I've been staging for 21 years. And I was telling someone in the elevator today, I remember, the excitement and not being able to sleep because I was going to go stage a house the next day, and how exciting that was in the very beginning. And what's most special to me, again, is the fact that I can do something to help somebody. So I have coined the phrase, I think June had talked about a space therapist today. Do you all remember that? Well, right. I came up with the term therager, which is a therapist stager. So feel free to use it wherever you may do your work. So thank you, everybody. Newbies, stick with it and find somebody that can be your buddy.
Almost to the end here. Just taking too long to do. Nikki Watson! Sister! So what did I say? This is a surprise. Well, what market were you in? And just a brief, I know because we're running long on time, but yes,
No,
we
y'all
love
know
you.
I can talk. So, I'm Nikki. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I was born where those guys at? Those guys back there, the married couple. I was born in Galveston, Texas, where they do. So I'm a Texas girl. So I got into staging as an accident. I just told this story back there. I met a stager, and I was his flooring rep, and he was huge. He had a big warehouse, and I was so amazed, and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. You make money doing this? And he said yes, and I thought it was just amazing. He closed his business, moved away, and all the realtors start freaking out, and they said, well, we don't have a stager, Jason's gone. And I was like, I could stage a house. Didn't know anything. So gave me my first opportunities. I love home staging. I love the industry, the things that it has afforded me to do outside of those things. Giving people, employing people is the big thing. My administrator that is with me has been with me forever and ever. Got out of a program that she had just got out of prison. So I hired her directly out of this program called Exodus Ministries, and it's an apartment complex that ladies that are recently released from prison or rehab, they live there for a year. And during this year, they have to have children to move there. And during this year, it's hardcore. They have to save their money. They got to get a job. The first 45 days, they can't have their phone, no social media, because they have to reconnect with their children that they left while they were gone. So I was at a point in my business that was growing. I was like, I need somebody to help me do all this, because you're everything. You're the janitor, you're the bookkeeper, you're all that. So I needed somebody to do the other stuff. And the first place I thought about was Exodus. Went there, hired this girl, and she has been literally everything to me. So, changing lives, changing my life, changing the world is kind of what my mission was. Starting this business and growing this business. So I've hired more girls from there. They work with me all the time. So.
And she's not saying that she had the idea, and the next day pretty much it was implemented, and she had people saying, well, we'll hire these people. So she's a doer, a do-it-now woman. And that's so impressive. I think we have one more. Oh, Bridget, but out of order. Is Bridget here? Bridget King, she was here. Bridget. And Leslie and Miss Moreland. See, Jonathan did these slides, and then people hid behind the thing. So Bridget King is also a pioneer. I'm sorry that she left. And then Leslie and Miss Moreland, are you still here? So she's also a pioneer in her market. I think she's the last one for this event. That's it. Thank you guys for being here. I know it's long. I love hearing stories of success of everybody, and being able to know where people came from is really great. So, the bar is still open. We have music going. Stay as long as you want here, and have fun. And we're going to be tomorrow morning, 9:20, in front of Building A for the tour. So we get to see you again for those of you leaving. Otherwise, let's have some fun.